Hello and welcome to episode 333 of the Awesome Comics Podcast, the place where the small press makes one hell of a big noise, live from Thought Bubble 2021.
Wow.
Yes. Hello. I am Vince Hunt, who will be launching the book Black today, and I'm joined by...
Me, Dan Butcher, and I'm going to be launching Vanguard Book 4.
And...
Tony Esmond. Am I meant to say... Oh, I'm not really launching anything. Launching George Mayhem and some Hercules comics.
Yay.
Oh,
yeah.
seller I am.
They have... Yes, it's going to be very interesting to see how you sell your books this weekend. But yes, this episode is going to be all live from the con floor.
Yep.
We've set up our table. It's about, 15 minutes before the doors open,
yeah,
I think?
And we've done well. Yeah. We were early, but we had a big night out. We had a curry at fucking 5 to 6 last night.
Yeah.
Put it early.
Yeah. It was very civilised.
I was fucking cracking you on, thinking, what fucking time is it? It's 7:30.
It was for like 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah. So
we're on tenterhooks for Madius, aren't we?
Yeah, we're just waiting on the Madius boys.
20 minutes time.
You've got 20 minutes left.
Alan Henderson is prowling like a velociraptor, as always. He has one of the best masks around.
Yeah.
And
I thought that was his face. He's just going to be purple.
Yeah. Everyone here is fully masked, and it seems like it's all set up really well. Yeah. So
nice bit of space. Maybe a bit more space behind the table would be nice, but the corridors are like you literally you said it last night. You could drive a car down it.
Yeah. So there's loads of amazing, talented creators.
We've got Lizzie from It's Lizzie, isn't it, from Cast Iron Books?
Abigail Jill Harding.
Rich Starkins. Margot
Drawn to History.
Salil.
I don't think we've come across it.
No.
That is quite interesting.
I was saying to Al, there's a lot of people here I haven't seen before.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's exactly what this show's all about. So probably...
Don't say that, apart from us, obviously.
Apart from us.
Speaking of Hellbound...
expect a few new voices. We're getting the look, we're getting the sexy eyes from the Hellbound media guys. But yes, for the next hour plus whatever, we're going to get lots of interviews.
Yep. You want to do the sponsor? We can fit into it because we actually went out with Pete Jeanpaul last night.
Pete Jeanpaul from our lovely sponsor Comic House.
Yeah.
Gave us a little update on the app and everything.
Yeah. He was good company as well. Yeah. It got very... We had found a back room. It was like a proper gangster back room, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We found this back room. Yeah, and we managed to work an app that actually people brought beer into our room.
That was a fucking revolutionary.
Proper gangster. And it just sort of was... First off, it was us and the Scottish Mafia, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And Al and all his mates. So then it just fucking filled up to the point where you couldn't get anyone else in that room.
Yeah.
So Broken Chair turned up, Dave Kennedy, loads of people.
Yeah.
Justin... loads of people. I can't remember that person's
Mark
last name.
Mark
Abner
Dave Cook was there. Yeah. It's just... Yeah. So it started off in good spirits. So we're looking forward to hopefully doing well ourselves.
We've got a bet with Dan, haven't we?
Yeah, it's a bet going on.
Yeah.
We're trying to work out like a new start in that film, The Time Machine. We get to
who was it?
We'll crack that case one. We're going to ask our guests, aren't we?
That dude from Neighbours was in it, but who was?
Don't Google it. That's the worst thing you can do. You've got to retain your memory. Otherwise, we'll get Alzheimer's.
So we'll put that to our guests and see if they can come up with the answer of who starred.
Are you seriously going to do that?
Yes. I think it's a good idea. Yeah. Keep it going.
Okay.
One day we'll crack it.
Seems it's a theme show.
It's scratching in the back of my head. I know somebody.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It'll be the AGGA episode.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Why is it double G in a row? Maybe different ones.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh God. So he's looking at you, so you don't. He's looking at. Don't say it. He's saying, don't say it. Yeah.
Right. So the doors are about to open, so I'm going to cut this short.
Yeah, the doors are definitely opening.
So enjoy whatever you're about to hear next.
Listen to the next guest.
Well, Mr. Rory Donald, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
So it's I'm here with Rory at Thought Bubble. He's had an interesting adventure up and getting
Phileas Fogg.
The most expensive drink in Harrogate.
Oh.
How you find it so far?
Apart from getting ripped off in a certain bar, yeah, good. Yeah. I've just spent about 10 minutes in the entrance as well, thinking I had a goodie bag coming to me because I'm a friend of Thought Bubble.
Yeah.
But they'd always sent last year's out to me, so I had this poor lad had gone through every box about 5 times. I've got to be in there. My name's in on the list. Then Chloe's just come over and explained you've already had yours from last year. Okay.
Is there still like a queue of people outside waiting to come in?
Yeah, went right round the back and went, get off, hey, you alright? How are you doing? Yeah, it was going right down the back of the conference centre.
Oh, okay.
I was quite lucky when I joined it. I was about halfway through, and it kept filling up while I was stood there. So,
is there anything you're up here especially for today? Like got an eye on a comic in particular, or?
quite a few, but I've decided this year, rather than go through the list and the books and start ticking off all the ones I want to see, I was just going to have a random wander and pick up what caught my eye. Apart from your table, I'd already got an eye on yours, Vince's one.
DUI Black.
And I got to talk to Tony about Hercules because I had trouble reading the first one.
Okay.
Only because the colour combinations in it were triggering off some sort of nausea. And I was finding it really hard to read it. I had to keep looking away. So.
Knowing Tony, that might have been on purpose.
Yeah, that's what I want to ask him. Because it worked on me. I haven't actually finished it yet.
I tell you what, there's loads of people here I've not seen before, creator-wise.
Right,
that's
yeah.
So,
Well, I say, because there was such a list of people dropping out right at the last minute as well, COVID and stuff, bless them. I wasn't quite sure how this was going to unfold when we got here.
Same,
I thought it'd be a bit thin, but already it's looking pretty
looks
good.
okay so far.
Yeah. Have you had a chance to look around yet yourself? Or?
Briefly, I managed to grab a book of Sarah Gordon, one of her kind of cryptic books. I was like, that's one I'm getting this weekend.
Yeah.
But I think, like yourself, it might be a browse round, see what takes me fancy.
Yeah, I just wanted stuff to jump out at me this time and see what I'll pick up.
Yeah. I'm sure we'll reveal our treasures in the photos we post after the weekend that we don't let our other half see because they go nuts.
yeah. Oh, definitely that.
Oh, that's all right. Well, I'll speak to you soon.
Lovely. Have a good com.
Okay, I'm here with Ben Clark from the Spine Chillers. Now, Ben, before I say this, we go back some way. I'm going to say it's like 20 years or something, isn't it?
I think it's probably almost 20 years, mate, yeah?
We sang about Bristol together, didn't we?
Back in the day at Bristol when me and Paul Scott were doing Solar Wind, and you and Ed Tricchino shared a table next to us. Was it 2002, 2003 maybe? Yeah?
Those were the days, the heady days,
Oh my God.
before all this shit, before all these really crap books. It was just us and a load of 2000 AD people.
It was good fun, man, good fun.
Nice to see you again, man, by the way.
Yeah, it's great to see you too, mate.
Yeah, and you've turned up with your new book, The Spine Chillers. So how did this come about? So it's a collection, is it?
Yeah, it's a collection of the webcomic that I used to do for Renegade Arts Entertainment.
Right.
It's kind of weird.
It's about a bit, or?
Yeah, it's kind of weird how it came about, really. I was on the table next to them at, Inverness, I think it was.
Okay, Inverness, you say?
Yeah. What was it called again, the Inverness Comic Con? But anyway, I'm sure it was Inverness. And the publisher, Alexander, he bought a copy of my Mothman mini-comic that I used to do. Mothman About the House, where he shares a flat with Chupacabra and the Loch Ness Monster, and they just sit around watching Diagnosis Murder and stuff like that, you know. But he really liked it, and he offered us a job doing a webcomic on that website.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. It's a spin-off of the audiobook series that they do. Doug Bradley, Pinhead from the Hellraiser movies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he does all these audiobooks of like famous weird tales by like Lovecraft and Poe, Ambrose Bierce, all sorts of people. Really, he's done loads. So it's kind of similar to the Mothman thing, but they all live in this crap guest house. And only writers live there, and they've got this like horrible landlady who's always bossing them about and stuff, and they just get up to ridiculous hijinks basically. The original three characters were H.P. Lovecraft, Edgar Allan Poe and Ambrose Bierce. Right. And then I started adding, like when they were doing a volume of the audio books, those characters would move in, so Charles Dickens comes into it later on. H.G. Wells, Arthur Conan Doyle, M.R. James. Who else?
M.R. James is like super cool now. Have you noticed? Everyone goes on about M.R. James.
Everybody loves him, but back then, like nobody ever heard of him. Yeah, the M.R. James, the best M.R. James stuff's the Ghost Stories for Christmas the BBC used to do. They are unbelievable. Some of them, really good.
So and then they come to you, which would have been years later, would it? And they said,
well, it's a while later. So I've had a fairly large break from comics while my son was young. But he's getting up now. He's he's 11 now. So
Bloody hell!
yeah,
I remember him.
mate.
Yeah.
I remember when he was a baby. I took him to Thought Bubble. Yeah, with his little Batman T-shirt on. Yeah. So like I've got more time to do stuff again now, and this is my first con for like, God, about 5-6 years, I think.
Yeah.
I was all set to start doing stuff again when the book came out in 2019, but then obviously, yeah.
It's a nice little book, man. It's a nice little sort of, what's that? Slightly bigger than A5, is it? Sort of thing?
It's like a little. I always said I wanted to do a collection of all my comics and to make it look like Clumsy by Jeffrey Brown. Have you ever seen that book?
Yes, I
Yeah. I love that book. It's just so cute and little and.
His lovely period before he started doing comics about cats and then Star Wars.
And Transformers. I do like his Transformers book actually.
Okay, aren't they?
Yeah. But Clumsy, I love that book. You know, it's a massive influence on me. So it's sort of similar. So I was when I first got them sent to us from Canada, I was just over the moon. You know, I was so happy. Yeah, they've all been remastered, relettered. It just looks. It just looks.
You've also given me 2 other mini comics, the Peaky Oinkers.
Yeah.
Of Magic Bean comics. That brings me back, man. I remember them.
Yeah. I've got a bag full of my old mini comics, and I've just been. I was too late to get a table this year, but I'll definitely get one for next time. So I just brought a bag of mini comics to give out to anyone I see. Like I bumped into a few people I know, which is great. Christina Basinski, I've just seen.
Are you northeast still?
Yeah, I live in Durham. So
is there much going on up there, or comics-wise?
There was a little con in Durham City, but it was more of a pop culture type thing.
There's one in Hull, I know. The guy's trying to get it all together for Hull.
Yeah, I heard you mention that on the podcast.
Seems like a nice guy.
Yeah, I thought, Hull's not too far of a travel for me. I think I might try and jump on that one.
Yeah, Gareth Slightholme, who's in the Bubble Boy Hall.
Right.
He's doing it, and I think he's friends with him, and he's a nice guy. And he says there is the obvious Funko fucking Dalek shit, but he says he's trying to get comics in. I think that's good. I think that's maybe we're getting him back through the back door again on Comic Cons.
No, exactly. Yeah. No, I think I'll definitely get into that because I'm having such a good time today, mate. Honestly, I really feel like I'm.
Because back in 2000 and 2001, 2002, there was the small press was like 10 tables, really. And there was like 1 or 2 conventions a year, wasn't there? Really?
That's right. Yeah. There was we used to do Bristol every year because that was the main one, right?
One, wasn't it?
And it had the awards. Like when we won the National Comic Award, was at Bristol for Solar Wind.
Nice.
And
Paul's a good guy. Like Paul.
Yeah, Paul's a great guy. He's doing fantastic, Paul. He doesn't do comics so much now. He's got a shop in Gateshead selling board games, role-playing games.
I saw him post about this.
He designs his own games, his own miniatures and stuff, because that's his real passion, is like RPGs and board games and stuff. I'm going to pop through and see him next week, actually.
Tell him I said hello,
I will, mate, because my son's starting to get into more serious.
Throw your money down the toilet.
Jeez, have you seen the price of some of these?
There were some comics.
Yeah. He's after this one called Horrified. I'm not sure. I don't really know anything about it, but I'm going to ask Paul. I'm just going to say he's played Pandemic and he liked that.
Right.
So but he's.
That's great, mate. We'll keep seeing each other the weekend, I'm sure. But where can people buy your comics? Where can they go and find your stuff?
Everywhere online, basically. Just it's on Amazon. But if you want to be extra nice, you can order it from the publisher's own website. You can get it in print and digital. Cool. The website, I think it's renegadeartsentertainment.com. But you can go anywhere, just Google it, mate. Yeah.
And the book's called The Spine Chillers by Ben Clark. And it also, where can they find Magic Bean Comics, I Cash the Dead Man's Pension at all? Or?
You can get I Cash the Dead Man's Pension, Stringer Bell at the Earth's Core, Peaky Oinkers, Space Dracula, Dracula Goes Bananas, Dracula's Trilogy of Terror, Nessie vs. Dracula, Space Dracula, and Dracula Goes Bananas.
If you're a Dracula fan, fucking get on it.
Yeah. You basically, that's mine, mate. Yes. No, it's all right, don't worry about it.
Dave Kennedy is stealing your bag.
That's all right. Hello there. It's got it's got The Dancing Plague by Gareth Brooks in there, which was the number one book I wanted to get.
Gareth had a table with me and Ed. Do you remember at Bristol?
I do, mate. Yeah.
Get the spine chillers. Thank you for mine.
Sorry, there is a link to my Big Cartel shop, which I'm about to update with all my mini comics. On my, just Google us.
Good stuff,
Google
man.
us. Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
No,
Okay, it's here we are at Thought Bubble, and I am here with a creator that I've talked about a fair bit. I sound professional, don't I, when I do this? But I'm with Nick from Plan B Comics. Hello, sir.
Hey, you all right?
Yeah. Oh my God, he's so cheerful. So good to see. And how could you not be? Because I've been talking about like Final Girl and Hardcore Bazooka All Stars. And is this your first Thought Bubble?
No, I've been doing this for about 8 years now, or 9 years. But usually it's my son who's kind of the star. But he's 17 now. He's a bit too grown up to be doing comics. That's not entirely true, but he's just, for the first time, he's not been here. So rather than him being the centre of attention, I thought, okay, I'm going to work on some comics and I'm going to get some more comics out there. Yeah. And I'm going to kind of enjoy Thought Bubble for myself this year and be a little bit selfish for a change.
Yeah, it's sort of like, I noticed you just sort of exploded onto the scene, like almost fully formed. Like when Final Girl came out, I was like, oh, it's clever. It's like, plus they're very well made. I mean, what's your background in like?
So I was a freelance illustrator for about the past 20 years. So I have worked in comics, but it was in children's comics. I worked on The Dandy. I was part of the team of artists who helped to kill that, such as the Etherington brothers, Jamie Smart, Warwick Cadwell. We were a lot of fantastic British talent who just helped drive that final nail into the coffin of a national institution. And then I've worked on a comic called Moshi Monsters, which were these strange little creatures that children would play. So I was working on that for a while, and Thunderbirds. So as a freelancer, I've worked on a lot of licensed product, which made me great for just stepping in and doing Angry Birds, or like I said, Moshi Monsters, if Dennis the Menace, I've worked on some Dennis the Menace where I've had to kind of ape other people's style. I've been at the illustration game for about 20 years, and
no stranger to a deadline.
Yeah, well that's it. It's about that working fast. So Plan B Comics was me this year, as with a lot of people during lockdown, thinking, what can I do to kind of just push myself further and just to challenge myself? So I thought, right, I'm going to see whether I can put together a comic or a series of comics it turned into, because it just kept going with the skills and the tools I have at my disposal, which hopefully other people have. So everything more or less was created on an iPad. So I thought, right, I'll take my knowledge of comics, my knowledge of horror and B-movies and 80s slasher movies, which is what influences a lot of what I'm doing, and I'll just have some fun, but I'll just see what can you do with tools you can just buy for, I think it's about £500 for an iPad, which isn't too cheap for a lot of people, but it is still more affordable.
People. I mean, I've moved over to using an iPad.
Yeah, and it's just fantastic, and it lets you do that kind of real hands-on. You're just sketching away. You don't need to be that tech savvy. So it was all about just saying, what can I do with an iPad? And then with digital comics, the idea was I can get this onto things like Comixology, which is I think where you came across it. So you're not having to pay to print things, but it just kind of started to snowball. I thought, actually, this is working, and I was able to get a good solid page rate going and being able to turn things out quite quickly, which meant, okay, I can get a good lead time on the stuff. So maybe if I do a Kickstarter and get some way of paying for the printing and just becoming kind of a really small, self-sufficient comic-making machine. And it seems to have worked, and then this is the pinnacle of it now, being at Thought Bubble and selling it.
A printed copy of the comic.
That's it. It's a feeling. It's very exciting. Opening the box and seeing it in there and thinking, it's worked. I know in 2 days I'm going to hate it, but right now I'm very excited and it looks good. And just seeing things go from the screen where you've looked at it constantly onto the page it's just so exciting to see it change that medium, and it almost gives it an air of authenticity about it by holding it.
So what programs are you using for it?
So traditionally I used to work, so Final Girl, I've been doing Final Girl as a character for a few years, and it used to be in a program called Illustrator, which is a very kind of technical vector-based piece of software. So the work was very graphic and crisp, and that was the kind of work I was doing. But now everything I do, it is on Procreate. And
that's what I use,
and I've switched over to, it used to be called Manga Studio, I think it's called Clip Studio now. I've switched over that just for doing the lettering, because I just felt the lettering in Procreate wasn't you could do it, and I did do it, but it took longer. Whereas with Clip Studio, you've got much better tools for creating those speech balloons and things.
Really
so I brought the two together. So all the artwork's done in Procreate because it is so lovely, isn't it? You can just sit there and you can knock a page out and you can change things, and it's
the erase button.
Yeah,
the undo. God bless the undo.
That's it. It's fantastic. And then for the lettering, I just take it into Clip Studio. And when it comes to things like titles, my work as a freelancer, I've worked in graphic design, so with that, I do go into something back to Illustrator, where I can just do something a bit fancy. Yeah, because logos, it's all about having that versatility and being able to make it bigger if I need to, make it smaller.
Make it look professional as well.
Yeah, that's it. So the banner, which didn't arrive in time, which you would be stood next to right now, so with that, that's where I took it back into my more kind of professional level of, okay, well, I'm going to use Illustrator because I need this to be big, but I want it to be crisp and I want it to look good.
To be clear.
But with the comics, it's all Procreate from thumbnailing and sketching right up to the colour in the case of hardcore.
I mean, the finished product looks super professional.
Thank you.
I mean, we've talked around it, but what is Final Girl?
Yeah, so Final Girl is the typical trope of a lot of slasher movies. So sometimes it is a guy, you've got Ash from The Evil Dead, you've got Tommy Jarvis from some of the Friday the 13th movies, but it is that traditional trope that was established with people like Jamie Lee Curtis in Halloween and Amy Steele in one of the Friday the 13th, but I can't remember which one right now. I think it was Amy Steele the second one?
She's the one with the telekinetic powers, isn't she?
Oh, that's when Friday the 13th just went, let's do anything. We're not quite ready for space, but let's get some psychic powers in there. So it's that character who fights back, who survives the movie. So essentially it's Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but for the 80s slasher generation. So she protects people, she protects this small town and keeps all these slashers at bay, and it goes from beyond the traditional slasher like Jason Voorhees and there's Freddy Krueger and Dream Demons, and in issue 2 it starts to cross over into Evil Dead territory, and you've got Deadite. So it's bringing in all these fantastic characters that I grew up watching when I shouldn't have been, when I was far too young for it, and bringing those into it. So essentially it's the age-old tale of good versus evil, but with a very 80s aesthetic, because it's always 1981 in Final Girl's world.
But there's also a nice, there's a British sort of sense of humour, like the satire and but not dumbing down of anything. Horror, isn't it?
Fantastic! I'm glad you can see that. Yeah, it's similar to things like Tank Girl. I've always liked Tank Girl. So Tank Girl, aesthetically, especially with Jamie Hewlett's artwork in the old days, it looks very American. It looks like a classic, beautiful comic. But then Alan Martin's writing, you've got that really subversive element to it, and it is very British, and it is very kind of tongue-in-cheek and takes itself seriously enough to be an engaging comic, but also knows when to poke fun at itself and when to be ridiculous. Now, I'm not comparing Final Girl to Tank Girl at all, other than the similarity in the second name.
It's going to be bigger.
But it's a definite influence, that kind of comic, and being British and reading comics like 2000 AD that also have that kind of dark humour underlying everything. I think that's been a huge influence as well.
You can see your influences right there on the page, and like leaning into them. I think it's important to lean into those influences.
Yeah. Oh, I'm glad it's showing through. That's great to hear.
And I know I can't wait to read issue 2.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah.
And also Hardcore Bazooka All Stars, which I've already told him before we start recording that he should make a print of one of the pages.
Yeah, which is possibly going to happen.
Possibly going to happen. That's the power. Yeah. That's the power of journalism. No, like I'm a journalist. But what's that one all about? Because that's hilarious and action-packed, and I totally see the same thing because there's like a Tremors style bit.
Yeah.
But what's that one? Because that's a slightly different thing.
So that one with Final Girl, it was more of a straight narrative where it is kind of, I'm able to tell a much more straighter story where I'm almost parodying these slasher films, like I said, but still giving us some respect, whereas Hardcore Bazooka All-Stars, the respect kind of goes out the window, and it's all about just having fun with these characters, these silly characters. So you've got a bionic stuntman in it, you've got the undead Heavenly Rigor Mortis, who was she was a stunt woman, sorry. You've got the... what are the names? Suzuki Suzuki Overkill, who's
they have the best name.
Yeah, the names are where it starts. The names are where I just like to give them those ridiculous names. So Suzuki Overkill, who's a robot war machine who can transform into a gun, but she doesn't often like to because it tends to stretch out with t-shirts, and she's got a lovely collection of vintage t-shirts. And then finally you've got Lo-Fi. Is it Lo-Fi Bolorama or Loungecore Bolorama? Who's kind of the useless member of the team who doesn't really do anything except see dead people. So it's tapping it.
Surely that's going to be useful.
Yeah. We'll find a way. So it's taking, again, things like the horror films, but also, like I said, Tremors and that science fiction and those other films from the 80s and 90s. And they're still making now just those really ridiculous films that, again, I grew up loving. So essentially, all of these comics are just for me and me indulging myself.
That's the way you got to do it. Like, and also you've created characters that people can quite easily cosplay. Yeah. I mean, you got an Adidas tracksuit and you're one of the all-stars, really, aren't you?
That's it. It's that simple.
Yeah. It's awesome, man. So if people, obviously, if you were at Thought Bubble, surely you've picked up these books. But for those who are listening now, where can they find your comics?
So planbcomics.com is a website where you can get hold of everything. And like I said earlier, there is a link on there to the digital versions on Comixology. But if you go to Comixology and look for Plan B Comics, you'll also find them there as well.
Nice and simple. So what are you doing? Go on, check it out now. Thanks, Nick.
Brilliant, thanks a lot.
Okay, I'm here with Rory Collins, who has just come over, and is this your first comic you've ever made?
Yeah, this is a COVID comic. It's basically the story was optioned.
I've touched it, that's right.
The story was optioned, and it was in development hell for a few years, and then a friend of mine said I should write a novel. I didn't know how to write a novel, but as an artist, I was like, I could try a graphic novel. So 18 months ago I had no comics, and now I've made 2, and the 3rd one's on the way next year.
Oh, nice one. And this is the first issue?
This is the first issue, and then this is the second issue there.
I get you. So this is called Arcs Issue 1.
Arcs Issue 1, yes.
What's it about, dude?
It's about a scientific theory called directed panspermia, which is, I know, it's a mouthful. It translates as all seed. It's basically a story about how we'll colonise other planets, because the science is very clear that space travel beyond our solar system is impossible.
Okay.
And the only way we could do it is using a process which is more like plant pollination, which is when we send specially designed bacteria into space that goes to other planets, goes there, then reboots the species on another planet. So the story's called Arcs, and it's about an Adam and Eve couple who wake up on one of these planets, and they realise quite quickly that something's gone wrong, and that they've created too much oxygen, and the whole planet is basically a bomb.
Okay. I can't but help but notice, and Vince, who's just looked at issue 2, says, what did you say?
It's significantly disgusting, and I approve.
That's a quote for issue 4.
Yeah.
It's significantly disgusting. So there's a lot of sort of violence and body horror, I'm going to say, in it.
Yes, there is.
A lot of bodily fluids.
A lot of bodily fluids. I need to stress this, but it's the first 2 issues, the characters are naked, but it's not a kinky mag. In the 3rd issue, they put clothes on.
Okay.
So, it makes sense in the context of the story, basically.
Pull them in with the nudity and then tell them the story. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah.
I'm only joking, man.
I did think about that, but to be honest, if I'd really thought about it, I think I probably would have changed it, because one of the things that I find quite interesting is that there's comic books, there's a whole subgenre of comic books which get a bit kind of adult, and
God. Comics. Yeah, my God. Yeah, you see Vince's collection of comics, massive. So this is your first comic. How did you find making it? Did you reach out to anyone to help, or?
I had a lot of friends who worked in the business, so it was quite straightforward. Really, it was really fun. We did a few Kickstarters, which was like eye-opening experience, and this is our first con. So
cool. So you applied to Thought Bubble. This is my first comic.
My wife applied for Thought Bubble before we'd even finished one comic, just as a punt,
right?
Because she lives near here,
okay.
And I said, we won't get in. We haven't even made a comic, but we sent them the draft as it was, and they said yes. So we're here.
It should be. I think new comic craze. I mean, we were commenting. We do a lot of conventions pre-COVID, and this is only really for all of us our first one. Yeah. And there's so many people here we don't recognise, where normally we'd recognise everyone.
Yeah, wow.
So it really has a sort of COVID growth of new creators.
No, for sure. I mean, this is my first one, and I went to the MCM last week, and I couldn't believe it was 50,000 people trying to get into the Excel Centre in London. I couldn't believe it.
To get that one fucking Funko. So, who are your influences? Who did you look to?
Quite honestly, my jam was always Aliens, so I liked the Dark Horse Aliens comics. That I always loved those, and I haven't really migrated too much through. I like some of the new Blade Runner stuff.
Yeah, the Titan stuff.
The Titan stuff, yeah. I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm a comic expert, but my background's film, so I was more a film person. So that's how I came at it. But yeah.
I mean, we often see the opposite, don't we? We often see people making comics because they're desperate to make it into a film.
Yeah.
But to say like this film hasn't quite worked out as a TV series or a film,
yeah.
I'm going to make it into a comic is a nice, refreshing alternative.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it's like, and the community's great. Right. I mean, really great. Not it's like people are so, just helpful and eager. So it's brilliant. So I'm blown away, to be honest.
Where can people buy a copy, and where can they find you online, man?
You can buy a copy of the comic at clickysproutwife.com. That's clickysproutwife.com. That's our fledgling company, and we have a Kickstarter coming out next year in February for Arcs issue 3.
Issue 3, man, you're cooking then, aren't you? Really?
Yeah, we're just going for it.
Are you on Comixology or Comic House?
No, we're not. I'm going to go talk to those guys in a second because I don't know anything about it. But yeah,
Comic House is really good. They're our sponsors. You can stick it on there and you get a portion of the profits and stuff.
Okay.
And think about Comixology as well.
Okay. Fantastic. Yeah.
Thanks, man. Have you got any personal social media you want anything to shout out to?
Well, no. Just check out our website www.clickysproutwife.com.
Thanks, man.
Thank you so much.
Hi there, it's Dan here. We're here with Jamie, and he's going to tell us all about his comic, Start Again.
Hello, nice to meet you. Thanks. I'm looking forward to speaking to you. It's been a while coming, actually, to be fair.
God, yeah, I've been interacting with you on Twitter for
years.
And it's odd. I didn't realise it's just one of those kind of things.
It's crazy. I'll tell you as well. I've avoided doing this sort of thing for years because I find it so intense for some reason. I used to be really I had a lot of anxiety and OCD, and I'd make it a thing where I'm like, don't do it because it'll cause me stress. So I was confident enough to do it, but I always felt reserved, like maybe it'd set me off again. But now we're here, we're confident, we're getting this done.
Con kind of stay at tabling at a con.
That were difficult, yeah, but it was more to do with media type stuff, and that's why I've never done podcasts. I've never done video stuff for the last few years. Yeah, so you probably might be the first podcast I've ever done. Yeah.
It's kind of, I find I've always tabled as part of a group.
Yeah.
Doing one on your own is kind of it's a bit kind of and it's quite an intensive experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tiring. It's up there.
There's so many random things. We just had a shop order a lot of comics just at a table. Nice. It's so surprising. And then we were talking about how he stocks a majority of indie comics, and one thing led to another, and before you know it, something crazy's happened that you never imagined had happened.
That's awesome.
I was so happy.
So can you tell us a bit about your comic, Start Again?
Yeah,
Start Again, is it?
Yep, it's Start Again. So Start Again is a superhero boy meets girl story, and it's about AJ Verma, Jump, and he's lost his secret identity online. He's basically had it leaked, and he's dealing with the aftermath about the whole world knowing who he really is.
Right.
So we're selling 9 comics from the Start Again universe.
Wow.
Which I know, we've had people coming up to us. So this gentleman called Steve earlier, he had the entire collection with him, and I got to sign all of them.
Nice.
And I love doing that sort of stuff. I'd never sign a comic unless someone asked me to do it, and I feel like it's such a pleasure for someone, to want that from you. That's what all of this is. When someone recognises you for your work, and they actually care enough to invest in what you're doing, it's such a magical feeling. And that's what everyone's probably feeling here right now, which is great.
Nice. So how many comics have you got to Start Again? The 9, did you say?
So we've got 9 Start Again comics, but we do have variants for each comic. At the moment, I think we don't have the variants for Start Again 1 and 4, but we have got ones for super fans. But we're going to be doing more variants shortly, because people they really like it when we get guest artists to do special one-offs, and ones that are rare and that are hard to get. Like the gentleman I was just speaking about, he had ones where only 100 have ever been printed.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's
so how long have you been doing this title for? It's a few years now, isn't it?
Don't quote me on it, but I think it's 6 years now, I think.
Nice.
But now we've switched from being able to just adventure into comics. Now it's a full-time pursuit, so we've accelerated the amount of work that we're doing. Neri Ria, I cannot stress what a professional that he is. He's so damn good at meeting deadlines and at such a high quality, and he takes it so seriously. He's like the Argentinian version of me. Like, we like the same things. It's brilliant.
Nice.
At the moment he was saying to me, it's like, I like Dragon Ball Z, I like Digimon, and I like Hunter x Hunter, and I'm like, oh my god, we have to work together. Let's get this done.
So you got to go, like, say someone wanted to start their own comic. Would you have a tip for, like, how would you go about it?
You know, I've been saying this for years as well. I used to run something called Comic Book Hour, and we'd ask questions, and whenever I'd try and make a suggestion myself, I hate to try and come across as if saying that things are absolutes, because I think there's lots of different ways to do everything. But if I were to advise someone who were wanting to get started, I'd say create a short comic that's a self-contained story, because there's advantages to this. You don't want to take on something too big while you're learning your craft. And at the very same time, when you come into things like this, you want something that's complete that people can take away, because there's a lot of uncertainty. People, like, they don't know if they'll be able to get back in touch with you for future issues if you're Indian. It really does help.
You may never be at the con again, like, as a creator.
Yeah, exactly.
You only do that one thing.
Exactly. But if you've got a completed work, it's great. And let's face it, publishers, if you go down that route in the future, they love to see that you've completed something.
Gotcha.
That's like a big deal to them.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say that, and then I'd progress that towards doing something on Kickstarter. I think that Kickstarter is the best platform in the world. You'll know this. You'll know this. And if you can get together, if you can make friends with fellow creators, and you can all improve your craft together, like a letterist, a colorist, an artist, and you can all benefit together at the same time, these kind of things are like really good ideas. Like, anthologies can be good experiences.
I always say that as well. Like an anthology, learn your craft, and you've got a very small window to play with, but you learn so many lessons doing that small thing.
I'll give you the big tip, the secret tip, the absolute secret tip. If you're a writer, learn how to letter.
Right. Yeah.
You can letter, and then you can fund your own pages with the profits that you make from it. But at the very same time, when you're a letterist, you'll fully understand how many words can fit on a panel and the amount of art space that you'll need, and it'll actually improve your writing.
And as an artist, I guess you get the chance to tweak the copy when it's on the page. So
Exactly.
like, that doesn't quite work, or I might need a little bit more there.
And Robert Kirkman did it, so why not?
Oh yeah. So another kind of thing, your kind of self-promotion is like, you got a good game going on there. You're very good at it. So you know what I mean. So have you got any tips to kind of like say someone, I've got this comic, but I really need to help up my profile and get myself out there? How would you recommend going about that?
See, from the outside, it could look like, when you're getting like bigger and bigger and bigger, you kind of forget what started it all off. And it is literally like what I was saying earlier. It's about starting small and like building the following of loyal customers, because if they know that you can complete works and the trust that the quality is consistent, you'll constantly be building your readership. Like me, I'm very old school when it comes to stuff like that. I take customer service so seriously. I'm not going to let people down when it comes to the work. I'm always going to try my absolute best. And that's what I try and portray to people constantly, is that when you buy something with mine and Archie's name on the front of it, it's always going to be as absolute best that we've put into it. And that's just, it sounds so simple, but that's how I've marketed myself.
Yeah, I mean, like, it seems simple advice, but like, we've seen professionals where they deride their fan base and readers. And it's like, why are you doing this? It's mental.
You don't have to insult other people to promote yourself, and it's a common mistake. It's a social media thing now. Everyone feels like if you have to be against something to promote yourself, whereas you can just be positive and you can be all about the hard work, and that's exactly what I try and bring to the table every single time. I like to think of myself as a creative kind of like anime character, where it's like it's always 100% at all times.
I very much believe it's like, try and bring everyone up, not put people other down till you can bring yourself up.
And like, don't be afraid of things like concepts like competition. Like, competition's great. Like, me and Joey Oliveira, have you heard it?
Yes, definitely,
After like comics, like, we're really good friends, and like, I look at the way that he handles himself and how he does stuff, and it inspires me, because I know that I need to be as good as he is, and like, he does the same with me, and we're constantly trading ideas and what we can help to improve like the reading experience. How can we make it better for everyone that's supporting us?
That kind of healthy competition, pushing one another and getting
Yeah, he's so good at what he does as well. He's like there's a few people in like the British scene where I look at and I say, man, like you've got it right. Like I'd say he's the absolute top. Yeah. Because he knows how to handle himself. He's like a lot of the stuff when it comes down to set out your table and stuff is all inspired by him. Like he's giving me advice on how to do it and set it up.
I was going to say, generally, I feel like the small press scene in the UK just seems to be on the up and up. Yeah. It's like titles have been given and bought. It's like this is absolutely professional. I'd expect to find this on the shelves. It's just everything's come on leaps and bounds. I
like to kind of say that like in comics now, the main event. Yeah. Like if it's going to be special, it's going to be indie. It's going to be on Kickstarter. It's going to be on platforms like Indiegogo, Patreon, and this is where the innovation's happening. They're not tied down by old ideas.
Yeah, the kind of big boys have absolutely just completely lost me. I've just no interest in what's being put out. I'd rather the unicorn creator creating this one thing. Yeah. That's what it is. It's a special item, not kind of a mass-produced kind of commercial nonsense. But
I personally think that mainstream comics could learn a lot from manga. Like I feel how they handle themselves and how they present themselves. Like here's a really good example. My Hero Academia has a quadrillion superheroes in it, and it's all in one volume, and it's very easy to understand. I can go by volume 1, 2, 3, 4 and onwards, and I can understand the story very easily. And there's no reason why billion-dollar companies can't, emulate these ideas and make it a lot simpler for people.
There's that meme, like, I want to start reading comics, and it's like, well, you got Batman 1 that's in 2007, Batman 1 here, Batman 1 there, and it's like, manga is like volume 1.
Yeah.
There you go.
But they benefit from it, because like, I really do, because I come from a manga reading background, but I love and appreciate all types of comics. It's cheap to sort of like bash Marvel and DC when, they've created like the heritage, a lot of the heritage for comics.
Like, I've got so much respect for the creators and kind of the heritage of it all. It's just like I feel they're taking real big missteps at the moment.
You just have to adapt and advance forward. That's all it is. And you've got the money to do it, so
do it.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks for talking to us. And,
thank you so much.
We'll be keeping an eye on your creations as they go forward.
Brilliant. I'll give you a little exclusive. We've got a surprise coming in February, a brand new comic universe, and I'm very excited about the direction that we're going in.
Oh, nice.
It's gonna be so different, and I'm not going to spoil it. We're going to even save all the artwork, all like the names and everything, and we're gonna drop this as a big surprise.
Oh, fantastic!
We're gonna leave little breadcrumbs starting in January.
Oh, we look forward to that. Yeah. So if people want to find you online, where would they head?
At Jamie Me Writes on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook would be perfect. And I'd actually really would appreciate if people get in touch with me. Give me feedback on what you like and even what you don't like. It's all valuable. Like, and I genuinely improve from what people tell me. I'll listen. I listen to absolutely everything as well.
Nice. Brilliant, thanks, Jamie.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Right, I'm here. I've just thrown down some coin to one of my favourite artists. Haven't spoken to him for a bit. Well, I speak to him quite a lot, but on the actual show itself, Gareth Slight Home. How are you, sir?
I'm good, yeah. It's really nice to be back out at the festival circuit, I suppose, the sort of like the show circuit. It's fun.
It's buzzing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah. I mean, I actually thought it was going to be a lot quieter, and understandably, what with everything that's been happening over the last couple of years, and it's been a real surprise. So it's been a real nice turnout, and it's been great to see everybody sort of like that we haven't seen for 2 years, sort of like coming up to stand and talking and stuff. So it's great.
And of course, like quite a lot has happened, I mean, in the world over the past 2 years, but you've been a busy boy as well, eh? I mean, I know there's lots of stuff that you've got in the works you can't talk about. Yeah. There was, of course, Space Warp.
Yeah, that's been brilliant.
Which is in W.H. Smith's newsagents now. How surreal is that?
It's absolutely surreal. I was just saying to somebody else, I saw them walk past with a T-shirt on, and that was mad. And they came over and they were chatting, and I was just saying that, at that kind of point, you're doing your own indie comics and stuff, and you're thinking, this is great. And then you get the chance to work with Pat Mills, and you just kind of go, you know what? If I never draw another comic again, I'm all right with that. I'm kind of like, this is a done thing now, and I'm good. But it's great. It's been absolutely fantastic, and there's so many other good artists working on that project, and weirdly, those local guys as well. So we've got like Mike Donaldson in Hull and Ian Ashcraft over in Grimsby, so it seems like there was a little cluster with that thing as well that kicked off, so that's brilliant. But
and like, I mean, I always say, because like following you on Instagram and stuff, you're always doing art shows, you're doing gallery shows, you're constantly working, constantly moving forward, and like but you're also like, you're doing a lot of work with like museums and stuff, aren't you?
I got to work with Barnsley Museums on a project that they did over lockdown, where they were putting out like a mystery comic over like 10 days And I wrote and drew that, and we put like games in it, and I was doing things like putting QR codes on the characters' phones, and those linked out to sort of like live action. Yeah, those linked out to live action videos of people dressed in historical costume talking, because it was about the history of this particular museum at Elsecar Museum, and that was great. And the way I did it was I designed like 14 or 15 characters for the kids, and the after-school club kids chose which 5 they wanted. And what was really nice in that was that one of the characters they chose had hearing aids on and he's deaf. And my partner runs the Deaf Centre in Hull, and so it's a subject kind of close to my heart, sort of like integrating those kind of ideas. And so I got to integrate a deaf kind of like explorer kid in there, and using the sign language and everything so changing the way that the sort of like the speech balloons kind of like went from his mouth, pointing into his mouth, to his hands, and getting him to actually do the actual signs and stuff like that, and putting little tags on so you could see that he was using sign language, and that one of the other kids in the group used sign language back, and it became a plot point and things like that.
And such a fascinating use of the medium as well, isn't it? So to be educational, so
yeah, well that's the thing, and it's like I think more and more I've been realising how much more I want to be able to do and talk about with comics. And I think we've said before, that I think it's still fairly unexplored. It got relegated to being this kind of infantilised idea that comics are for kids only, in the 50s and stuff like that, when they had to put stickers on them and everything like that. But it's just another medium for storytelling. But it's such a unique storytelling medium. And this is weird, and this is nuts, and I might have talked to you about this before, but I got to go down to Bristol and do a talk on making comic books for Defra, talking to guys from the MOD and sort of like other people, where we're trying to get across information about climate change to politicians who don't like to necessarily read large sums of text, and so we're trying to figure out how to get information across quickly.
Give them a comic.
Well, exactly, but it's just the fact that comic book pages can contain vast amounts of information that cover different time frames on the same page, and across 2 pages you've got this amazing multimodal space where you've got different characters talking. They can be talking over, juxtaposed over images where they're not there and stuff like that, so you can really do something complex on a page, and that's what comics are great at, and so that's fab. So yes, so the history comics have been great fun and that, and doing museum stuff in Hull as well, tied into some of the events that they've been doing there. We had this big tentacle monster event, and I got to do the history backstory for that. So,
blimey! So I mean, it makes me feel lazy. No, but it's amazing. Like just seeing, it's not just comic books. You just whether it be education or from sci-fi and spacewalk to doing all these things. Like you're
still just comics, isn't it?
Your art, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, and trying to test the boundaries, and having a little bit of time off to the side. I've been trying to learn to do digital painting a little bit more, and obviously at some point, that's fairly separate at the moment, but I can see it crossing over, and eventually I'm going to want to jam that into my comics as well. And I have been looking at my Cthulhiad books, and we've been talking about trying to get the last ones done, the last little bits done, and then doing like a redux in full colour and stuff like that. And obviously some of that I might just do fully painted pages every now and again in it, and that might be fun to do, but I have no idea what I'm doing really most of the time.
You're doing some wonderful one-off pieces, beautiful. Digital paintings just always seems so effortless, and whenever I look at your iPad, I know you've got a billion files on there. And you say you're working in arcane style, but
well, it is. My stuff's really kind of like, I suppose, rooted in that kind of everything from the 17th century up to about the end of the 19th century art, isn't it? It's like from those kind of like the Dutch painters all the way up to like Singer Sargent and stuff like that. And even my drawings kind of like the archaic sort of like 18th to 19th century pen and ink style and stuff like that in a lot of cases. I wish I was as good as some of those guys, clearly. And that's the point, though, is you're always learning and stuff, isn't it? So.
Yeah. And you never know. You do loads of fantasy stuff, which is right up my alley. Also, there's the science fiction stuff. Well, that's right up my alley.
I love fantasy stuff, though. I grew up reading the Conan pulps and stuff like that. And it's so great seeing so much stuff on TV now. Yeah. That I'm getting that kind of satisfied and then re-inspired again, and then there's the resurgence of D&D that happened during the lockdown. Of
course, you're doing some stuff that's available on DM's Guild and stuff like that, haven't you? What have you just released on there?
I've done a thing called the Weird Deck of Many Weirds,
Which is amazing.
And it's basically a card deck that for DMs that works, I guess, like, the deck of many things, but there's multiple choices within every card that's drawn, so every time you play it, it'll be a different outcome, so it's fresh, I guess, each time and everything like that. But
you don't make things easy for people, do you, Gareth?
Well,
give them a million options.
Fuck them if they can't take a joke.
You're absolutely right. I think never a truer word.
Yeah.
But I mean, is there anything upcoming that you can talk about now, or where can people actually find out more about like the museum stuff?
I do a lot of chatting on Twitter, I suppose. Twitter and Instagram, I'm on there. So
where can people find you on there?
At Hesir, which is HESIR, or on Instagram it's AKA Hesir. You can.
Well worth following.
So you can find stuff on there and everything like that. But
And then when you see him at a show, you'll spend a lot of money with him, which I just did.
Well, that's, I guess, the point sometimes, isn't it? But
you want to take all my money?
Well, no, not yours, just everybody else's. And it's just it's been fun, and I always say on the kind of things, links to these kind of shows and stuff. Come over, let's talk about drawing, let's talk about comics, let's talk about.
It's not
exactly
just,
no.
I have products.
No.
It's like, I love this.
Yeah,
let's talk.
It's great when parents come up with their kids and stuff like that, and we can just chat about how interested they are in drawing, and you just get to say what kind of weird projects you've worked on for actual money, so they can see that their kids might have an option that follows the thing that they love doing the most.
What are the parents' reactions? What are they like to when you talk about museum stuff? The education stuff. Does that? Because sometimes when you talk to a parent about a comic, and you see them light up when they just didn't think of certain things.
Yeah.
Do you see engagement in the parents sometimes?
Yeah, I think, there's been a lot of stuff, and obviously going to get political now, but when you see sort of politicians saying to people, don't go into the arts, just go into the sciences and everything like that, that's problematic for everybody in this room, and it's just you can buy all your art abroad, but we need homegrown artists. We need people working for film, television, book production, whether it's kids' books, adults' books, science books, New Scientist has illustrations in it. Every one of these kind of products has all this kind of stuff in it. The amount of concept art generated for films, particularly animations, when you think about that kind of thing. And there's so much cool stuff out there. Do we really want to hand that over to everybody else and just have a bunch of sort of other things? There's nothing to say that you can't do both. You can be a scientist who draws. Let's face it, all historical scientists.
You're an alchemist who draws, because they're the weird and wonderful stuff that you come up with, man. I can't wait to see what's coming up next from you in the next couple of years.
Yes. I'm sure that there will be, and we'll eventually finish things that need finishing. This is where this has been driving. No, not those. That's not what he's talking about. He's talking about.
No, I wasn't.
He's screaming in my face. I can see it. Look at his face.
He's done me. He's absolutely done me. All right, thank you, Gareth.
Yeah, no worries.
Absolute legend. And, we'll hear from him again soon.
Always brilliant, and you guys are such an inspiration on the show and everything like that, because it feels like it's the home and hub of when people ask, how do I find out more about how to get into comics and stuff like that, you just send them to the Awesome Comics podcast. You say, don't listen with your favourite aunt, obviously, But, essentially, that's where to go. So, yeah, great.
Oh, thank you, man. I didn't expect you to plug our show when I'm supposed to be talking to you about your work.
Well, it doesn't matter, does it?
That's you just want to get the last word, don't you?
Particularly during a pandemic.
Never a true word. Hygiene first. Yeah. Thanks, Gareth.
No worries.
Okay, I'm here with Mr. Nicholas Bryan.
Hello.
I've never called you Nicholas before. It's quite nice, isn't it?
It's just you and my mum, I think. It's literally just you and my mum, but even she started calling me Nick since she retired. I'm not sure why that happens.
Right, rock and roll, mum. Yeah. So Nick, you've got a new project on the go, haven't you? With Rosie again, is it?
Yeah, Rosie Alexander, who I did Little Deaths of Watson Tower with. We did that, and we wanted to do something a bit more substantial, and she wanted to really play with colour and stuff. Cause, like you've seen on her Instagram, she's got this sort of huge, she's sort of very colourful, undulating style. She calls it neon gush, which is.
What's right?
She calls it neon gush, which is as good a description as anything. It's like this huge rush of neon stuff.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, she wanted to try and employ that in a comic. So I wrote this sort of this story, Fairy Fair, about fairies using magic and casting spells and making things weird, which sort of let me combine my love of urban fantasy with her love of really bright colours.
You work quite well together, the two of you, don't you? She's a favourite collaborator, is she?
Yeah, we get along. We have a good sort of back and forth. She's quite willing to sort of take the scripts and change them a bit. She always seems to have quite a good instinct for what will actually work. And weirdly, I quite like the fact that she clearly has quite different influences to like me, because like I think in a very sort of left-right gritty way, because I've obviously read a lot of like Western superhero comics and stuff growing up, and then
more manga, or as a youngster more manga, or
I think she's a lot more manga, because a lot of her pages tend to read more straight down. You always feel like you're reading down the page, whereas for me, I'm
almost like a scrolling online comic type thing, or
no, it's just like the panel layouts always seem to be, there's a lot of like vertical layouts, or there's a lot of just going straight down the middle and less sort of left to right, left to right, left to right. I don't think she really thinks that way in the same way that I do. And
when you script stuff, do you specify panels and stuff like that as well, I'm guessing?
I do, just because I like to, this might just be neurotic, but I like to know that it fits. I like to know that there's at least a way in my head.
We all know that writers of comics are the best, and that we know the best. Is that right?
Yeah, and obviously, and sometimes Rosie changes it, and then I phone her up and shout at her, but then we do her thing anyway.
What have you got on the bubble? Got anything else on the bubble at the moment?
Well, Rosie emailed me like 2 days ago, actually, saying she's just coming to the end of the layouts for Fairy Fair number 2, so we're hoping to have that like at the latest for like this show next year. So
that's good. That's a good kind of open schedule. Got a nice time to get it ready.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, we got probably another Kickstarter around the same time as the last one.
Okay.
And I'm also doing another thing with another returning collaborator, Rob Ahmed, who I did And It Snowed with and The Catalyst.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Because I guess he's different to Rosie, but I think he is quite traditional comics orientated. If you've seen his work, he's quite Darwin Cook-esque. He's definitely got a lot of that.
I do know who you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, he's really good. He's got a really he's really good at like specific emotions, a really strong sort of natural storytelling. Like he changes the angles in the script a lot, but it's always for the better. Like he's quite good at going, okay, that needs to be further out, so that needs to be closer in, and there's a little of
that's the collaboration aspect, making it.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, because sometimes making changes like that is a bit awkward, but it usually just goes back and forth. We look at it in the roughs, we work on it. So yeah, we're doing another thing. It'll probably be slightly earlier next year. I think that's going to be my big 2 things for next year. My thing with Rob, which is going to be about necromancers, I think, because if you've looked at a lot of his like personal work, he really loves the sort of fun goth Tim Burton thing, that sort of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, so he wanted to do something in that vein, so I went away and churned it for a bit, and we came up with necromancers.
So how does that work? So I mean, I've had a similar thing where the artist comes to you, asks to do something, but then do you take the helm for the Kickstarters as well, do you?
Yeah, I do most of the admin and stuff, just because I don't know.
I suppose because the writer has more time, doesn't it?
I don't know. Rob is very fast though. Robert he's very close to being able to draw faster than I can write. He's
right. Wow. Okay.
I think drawing comics is his full-time job, which probably helps. But even so, he really cranks it out. It's quite impressive. Like when he's on your project, it's like, here's about another 8 pages of roughs from this week, Nick. Oh, really? Okay.
Better write a bit more. There
have been occasions I've been writing for my life ahead of Rob. Yeah, it has happened a couple of times. I mean, it's really satisfying though. It's one of these things where you really feel like you're doing it, it's flowing, it's happening, and you can sort of play off what he's just done.
I think when you're writing as you go along, or you've obviously got the script, you've got the plot and everything, but when you're writing, seeing what art's coming in allows you to change certain aspects a little bit, to go with what they're doing sometimes, do you think?
Well, yeah, like especially dialogue stuff. Like I think it's what a lot of pros call like a lettering pass, isn't it? Like the bit where you have the art and then you basically rewrite all the lettering.
Yeah.
And because there's always some slight change of phrasing or change of back and forth or tweak to exactly how the beats work will work a bit better with the art. So I've never imagined it perfectly because I'm just not Rob, but I can't see the future. So and it's always better as well. The thing that ties in with his art is always better than what was originally there.
Cool. And where can we find you online? Where can we buy your books, man?
I'm nickbryan.com, and as of probably around the time the podcast goes up, my new comic Fairy Fair number 1 should be on the shop as well.
Cool. Good stuff. Are you on social media?
I am. Yes, I'm at NickMB. That's N for Matthew, M for Brian. Hang on, I'll fuck that up. That's M for Matthew, B for Brian. I can spell my own name. And I'm nickbryan.com on Instagram, which doesn't require I spell anything.
Good man. Good. Thanks, Geezer.
Cheers. Have a good one.
Right, so it's Dan here, and I'm here with Lisa, who's representing the Leeds University BA Honours Concept and Comic Art. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Could you tell us a little bit about the course and what you offer up?
Yeah, so this is a course that focuses on visual narrative in many forms, as in like the name suggests, through both comics and concept art. It's a very new course. We've only been running for 4 years up at this point, but it's really fast growing because there's been a really big growth in this area. So we have studied everything from how there are people in our course who want to study storyboarding or do comics or illustrations. It is a very wide course, just focusing on storytelling through images.
Yeah. So what would you do, like a first year student would come in, and would you take them through like a basic drawing stuff or how you go about doing what you're going to do?
Yeah. Okay. So basically you take them in and they would do a lot of like learning perspective and learning how to iterate and a lot of stuff that goes into this more industry-like art project. Okay. So and then you specialize more and more through the years and learn more specific things, and you decide sort of where you want to specialize in.
Right.
So there are people who want to purely become concept artists, and they can specialize in the second and third year more towards that.
Right.
And we have tutors from all of those industries who can help us.
Speakers that come in and advise. Okay.
And our tutors, the resident tutors as well, they've all had a career in either comic or concept art, and can then help students focus what they want to do.
So I see like you got some absolutely amazing examples of work up behind the boards.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of stuff that the students will be like end up producing.
Yeah, this is all work that people we just put up with the course got the tables for us, and then we just formed a committee, and anyone who wanted to be a part of it could be a part of it. So this is a lot of personal work from students, what they do in their free time.
Right. So, like in a third year project, because usually in university, in my days at least, like you get 2 maybe big projects in your third year.
Yeah.
Is that the same kind of?
Yeah, that is the same here. We are doing basically we make our own brief. At least this year, but like I said, it's a very fast developing one.
Yeah.
So there might be some changes, but what we're doing now is
what's going on down there?
something really nice happening over there. So for the first semester, we will have to do a big project, but we sort of set the brief ourselves. We get one-on-one with tutors.
So you'd sort of say, well, I want to do X, Y, Z, and they'll say, well, maybe if you angle that a little better, that would work.
That could work, and then they'll be like, okay, what are the steps for you to get to that point?
Right.
You're making a comic, what do you have to do? What do you have to prep? Do you have to write the story? So you set your own brief with the guidance of the tutors for what would you like to have to show at the end of the year. So basically portfolio building, but with heavy guidance and lectures.
With like an idea of getting further employment in the industry that you're trying to
get
yourself towards. Yeah, okay.
So a concept artist who, for example, I know one one of my friends is focusing on environment art.
Right.
So their brief is they're designing a world and designing different environments in that and doing studies of rocks and trees and stuff like that as a small brief within the big one.
Right. Yeah,
so it's very customizable to what people want.
Because obviously, like, one of you guys comes out of university, say a games company, and they see all these environments, it's like that's exactly what we're afterwards.
Exactly, and they see like this is what this person wants to do, focus on. So I think it's a very good.
Do you get like many of the comic kind of creators doing the same thing, or is it more concept art?
No, it's a really good mix of both. Okay. We have amazing. Our tutors are comic artists as well, practicing ones.
Nice.
Actually, quite a few of them are here right today. But yeah, we have the comic artists as well that are coming in, and they can last year we have the first year graduating, and I know quite a few of them kickstarted and pre-sold their comics.
Oh, nice! That's fantastic.
With the assistance of teachers who know what they do, know how to do this, and so at the end of they had these comics that they had sold and stuff like that. So
that's like a whole other skill set itself beyond the creative process.
Yeah,
it's an interesting one.
Yeah, and that's why I think like I know maybe it's hard. I'm a third year in this course, but honestly, I have nothing but really good things to say about this because it is so adaptable to what the student needed.
When I was doing mine, I would have been all over it.
Yeah.
I would have been all over it. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I'm part of the second year who got taken in since this course started, and I was just immediately read the description. I was like, that one.
Nice.
I don't mind. It's only been running for 1 year. I will be a guinea pig, and it's been perfect.
So essentially, if anyone wants to kind of get into this, check out the Leeds Art University.
Yes, check out the Leeds Art University. Check Comic and Concept Art there, and then you can see it on the Leeds Art University profile or through some of our tutors as well.
Fantastic. Thanks for the interview.
Thank you so much.
Okay, I'm here with a new voice for the show, created by the name of Shane Melise. How are you, sir?
Hi there. I'm good.
Very smooth. That was nice. Hi there. Love it, love it, love it. Now, earlier today, I was immediately haunted and caught by one of Shane's books, which is called "They're Coming Down the Stairs," which I think only you can describe it.
I guess it's a comedy horror parody of Bananas in Pajamas.
Bananas in Pajamas.
Yeah. So like the theme tune was in my head one day, and the more I was thinking about it, the more eerie I started to realise like that song and the lyrics kind of could be. So
yeah, it's like like children's sort of nursery rhymes or theme tunes and stuff. If you just sing it a different way.
Yeah, it was just like, and even like the melody, it's like, I don't know, it's got like a little bit of like a Jaws sort of like, but then it goes
like.
Oh my
God. I've never thought of that before. Oh my God, yeah.
I mean, that's the idea of being chased by giant bananas,
yeah, it's pretty terrifying.
Yeah.
And certainly the book itself is like, the cover immediately has the bananas. They're your take on the bananas.
Of course,
pajamas.
Yeah, I mean, like, I guess it was like, when it's like with horror, you kind of want to try and make it freaky, but also you want it to be like appealing to some extent.
Because this isn't like photorealistic. You've got like a sort of like an animated kind of style.
Try and stylize it a bit. I mean, I had like early ideas were like a lot more freakier. Like there was an idea of like the banana skin peeling off, and it was like a mushy skull. But then I was like, I don't want to go into that much detail, and don't want to go that dark. And then I was like, nah, I kind of wanted to keep it like, I don't know, sort of like 12A sort of thing. So,
And it is sort of bright, colourful, and also full of potassium, which is what everyone needs in their comics. But also, you've also got another, this is almost kind of like an art book / going to be comic project and stuff like that, isn't it? Called Road Night.
Yes.
Now, this is fascinating to me. It's just one of those, it just makes sense when you were describing it earlier. But for those that don't know, because there's going to be hopefully more of this. What is Road Night?
So, Road Night is basically, like, to those who are familiar with, like, the gaming franchise, like Dark Souls, Bloodborne and stuff like that, the From stuff where...
The really difficult games that...
very difficult, dark sort of fantasy game. It's like a London version of that, like illustrations. It's kind of just me combining, like, London street culture with sort of fantasy. It's the best way for me to describe it is the Warriors mixed with Narnia.
Oh my God, that's epic.
Yeah.
That sounds. Immediately as soon as you see it, like the cover itself, you've got the large ornate swords, but also there's almost like an attack the block kind of like gang of street kids.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And like a housing estate in the background.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's sort of like, when you see an idea, you just think, why haven't people done this more?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of what happened. Like, because you see a lot of like samurais and ninjas mixed with like sort of like hip hop and stuff, like with Wu-Tang and such, which is great, and there's a lot of that stuff. But you never see like medieval and stuff, and I guess the interest is only now getting bigger due to like more recent, like the Soul series and Game of Thrones and all other stuff that's out there.
Is it interesting mixing like the sort of that urban setting with like the medieval and the mythic and...
Yeah, it is, and like it's just like trying to find a balance of like how much of it I want to have that is London and how much of it I want to have that is like fantasy, and also I want like all my stuff isn't to be taken very seriously. I like making it kind of goofy and like a lot of like silly humor in there. So I'm always trying to have like that element in there. It's like one of the key parts.
Like the sort of like the animes where there's a small person with a huge sword.
That
physically wouldn't work in real life.
Yeah, exactly.
But it works when you see it on the page.
In
anime.
And it's always kind of cool. And I kind of just want like kind of like goofy characters. Like they're all characters that like you kind of don't really want to be, but they're fun to watch. So.
That's the thing. Well, everyone likes watching things about the bad kids or the bad people, or and they end up rooting for them.
Yeah.
I mean, did it start as like concept art that then a story blossomed?
Yeah, that's pretty much it for the time being, because I haven't actually got like an actual comic for it just yet. It's just been.
But it feels like you've got them.
It's been a lot of world building at this point. So it was just like thinking of scenarios. A lot of it from like some personal experiences, which as a result of that, majority of the illustrations as mostly nights like eating fast food, drinking, and being kind of like passed out on like the tube stairs or something.
I'm sure there's a few people that know what you're talking about.
And like there's I'm trying to fit in like other characters like villains, and so and of course like there's always going to be like thinking of like knife crime and stuff. So that could be a topic that could like come into it. Something that's relevant to like London, and that's constantly happening. It's something I'm very cautious of too, because like I don't really want the knights fighting each other. I like the idea that it's more of like the mystical stuff being the main like interaction. That's what
the Cthulhu or the dragon. Or
the
giant spider that you don't see in Clapham that often.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of like the vibes I'm going for with this.
Well, I can't wait to see more of it. Because it does look awesome, man.
Oh, thanks.
I mean, if people want to find out more about like bananas, medieval stuff, you also got like Shamefaced, True Made Up Stories. The Night, which was some of your earlier work.
So I guess The Night is probably like the first hint of what Gold Knight was going to be eventually. Where it was just more of like I just like drawing knights, and I was just drawing it all the time, and then I stopped for a long time, and that was like maybe the last minute idea that comic was. It was like I had a Comic Con come in, I had nothing new for it, and I just like an idea popped in my head 2 weeks before, and I just like made it in my and I made it in my sketchbook, and it looked really sketchy but in a good way, and I wanted to keep that sketchy look to it, so like I tried to print it in a sort of like sketchbook look, and it's been doing well, and I still kept it on my table. It's been like 5 years now.
Well, I mean, it's nice to have those evergreen titles as well.
And then
every comic art is the first time someone's seen your work.
Exactly, there's that too. And then the True Made Up Stories is like a sort of diary comic that I made when I was doing Sober October, and it's kind of like documenting me being sober and stuff, and people seem to like it, so I did a few more. But my life isn't that interesting, so I made up some stupid stories. So
it's fictionalized slice of life.
Yeah. Which is why I got the title True Made Up Stories. So.
That's great. So where can people go to find your work and like get some of this?
So I have a website, shaneface.com, and like my portfolio's there as well as the shop. And yes, we can get my stuff.
Go forth and check it out, folks. Thanks very much, man.
Oh, cool.
How can you not want to talk to Matt Simmons, one of our favourites? Obviously, I was stocking up on some of his stuff, and a customer popped by to buy yet more copies of Cats, the Butthole Cut, because she had given one away and desperately wanted her own copy, didn't it?
Yeah, they couldn't get enough of the Butthole Cut, like stocking up.
I mean, it's funny because it's Cats, the Butthole Cut, but that's what it's all about, isn't it? Sometimes when people come back for those sort of moments are fantastic, aren't they?
Absolutely. Especially with stuff like that where you kind of feel like you're taking a bit of a risk making it, like no one's gonna really like it, because
your work's very personal, isn't it? I mean, it's like you watch a film and then like you've done a zine about it, or a TV show, or Cats, God bless you. And I suppose when it is personal, to have people connect to it in that way, rather than a fantastical story where someone likes the character, it's like someone gets your humour.
It's really nice because I always do get quite nervous talking, but I also love to talk and communicate with people. So it's nice to just put all my thoughts and feelings down in these little zines and not have to express myself quite in the same way.
Because the way you do your zines as well, like you'll be describing something that happens in the film, and then there'll be a panel that just goes, "Fuck that shit," and I'm like, "Yeah, I get it." Because you sort of say what we all feel. And like, obviously, talked about Dracula, but you have these little packs of one that I just bought. Left-hand horror zine set.
Yeah.
Now, what's this all about?
Well, I'm right-handed. Overused.
So already I'm thinking, why are you doing this?
yeah. Overused my right hand too much. Don't want to talk about it. Not really appropriate. But no, seriously, working injured my hand and I couldn't draw, and it was really upsetting. And I love to draw and write and make zines and comics, and I couldn't. So I just thought, how about if I just make zines with my left hand? They'll look shit, but it'll be kind of funny. That'll add to the charm.
Yeah.
And I feel like it really did. These sort of spidery, wiggly line drawings of horror icons.
Yeah, you also like.
Yeah.
It's not just drawing.
Yeah, and so I write the things. The handwriting's a bit messy and stuff, but just kind of like train of thought sort of about the different horror icons and things like that. Just write little things, and it gives you a bit of space to just like say what you want and have a laugh about it,
Yeah.
It just and I've just carried on doing them. Sort of. I guess I chose horror because I feel like there's always a fine line between horror and comedy. Like, a misjudged horror can just become some of the best comedy and stuff.
Yeah.
And
some people can watch horror and like someone's horror is another person's like, that's ridiculous.
Absolutely. Some of the horrors that scared me the most are things that other people just find absolutely hilarious.
Yeah. Some horror doesn't date well, but when you're a kid and you watch it, it's the worst thing in the world.
Yeah. Sometimes I've been horrified by things and not wanting to watch it for years, and then I go back to it and I go, wait, what? Like, I lost that much sleep over that.
Yeah. So when you do these things, are you writing from... I know, like some of them, you talk about films you watched when you were a kid as well. Is it like you rewatch it and then it's watching it with a new experience?
Yeah, I mean, I watch horror films like loads because I was a really sort of fearful child, and I didn't watch a lot of horror, and any horror would have scared me so much. But now, obviously, I can enjoy it, and I do just find it like endlessly entertaining on so many levels. Like even like awful horror films, I even love to look at them from like a filmmaking perspective the ideas behind them. Like I love like slasher sequels where they have to think of really contrived reasons why the killers come back again, and they just like the ideas behind some of the ridiculous stuff that they need to do. Like on so many levels, there's just a lot of interesting stuff and enjoyment I get from it.
Yeah. So and like, I mean, you obviously surely you go do more of these because obviously your right hand is surely better now. Hopefully,
it's not too bad. Yeah. I got to take it easy.
But is it something that like you had so much fun doing that you're going to keep doing these sort of experiments?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like I even like my left hand drawings a lot better in some ways because I judge them a lot less. Like if I draw something with my right hand, it's never right, and I'm always criticising it in my own mind. But with the left hand, it can turn out as bad as I want. I just go, it's my left hand. What do you expect? You can't hold that against me. Deal with it.
Yeah, absolutely fearless. Yeah. I mean, it's awesome, man. I like you're taking those chances and trying different things. And I mean, for the record, Tom Curry showed me a Masters of the Universe Choose Your Own Adventure story, which contains one of the best jokes I've seen in years. So that's all I'll say. So you just got to check out Matt's stuff. Like Future Egg, of course, we talked to you on the show about Ambassador Galaxia. But I mean, where can people go to get your stuff?
I think you can go to my shop to get most of my stuff at my online store, which is Matt Simmons Comics at bigcartel.com, something like that. Or you can check me out on social media at Sheriff_Freak, and you can get to my shop from there as well if I've messed up that.
And last year, like when Thought Bubble was digital, I bought stuff from that, and at the very time that you send stuff out, you're very good at delivering stuff, dude. So
I try my best. I've been having a trying few months, but now that the deadlines are over, Thought Bubble is done with. I should be back to my old self. Yeah.
Do you have an idea of what's in the future?
I do. Yeah. There's plenty to look forward to.
There's a twinkle in your eye.
Yeah. Well, if you like mukbang, I don't want to say too much, but there's another mukbang.
Oh my God!
There you go.
Is it going to be
that was too
muckier?
much? Yeah, that was too much. I didn't want to say too much.
Well, we look forward to more mukbang, and we'll have to get you on the show proper to talk about it when that happens.
Cheers,
Matt.
Many hours later.
Right then, This is, and you've noticed that the audio has probably changed quite dramatically. It's because Thought Bubble 2021 has concluded, and as always, we are old men just sitting around, getting tired and waiting for a cup of tea soon. That never arrived. Let's not get into that. But we're also in the palatial estate that is Tony Esmond's
in the East Wing.
In the East Wing of Tony Esmond's hotel room.
You want to get your steps up, go for a shit.
And yes, we're also joined by the first person we're going to thank today, and that's Mr. Tom Curry.
Hello.
When you said the first person we're going to thank, I thought you meant that woman from Trotters.
That's a story for another time. Yes, Tom was there as a visitor, but of course, as the sort of fourth Beatle, you helped out a lot. So thank you very much, Tom.
Yeah,
for the weekend. No as well as gifting us some lovely books as well, which is very, very kind.
He got me a June trade, so Tom's my favourite person.
And he got me volume 1 of Die by Kieran Gillen, and the artist escapes me. But, but that looks brilliant.
And he got me Blood Runs Cold. There you go.
That's an interesting one.
That's got some great credit. Yeah. Loads of great.
Should we start off with the thanks to all the people over the weekend?
Yeah, I think. Well, firstly, thank you to everyone. Just a general thank you to anyone that came by the table, said hello. I don't know. There's probably a lot of people who won't listen to this that we're thanking right now. Yeah. Some people walked away with flyers and cards. If you're listening now, thank you very much for saying hello and looking at our stuff and chatting with us. We chatted with so many sort of different people, friends old and new, wasn't it?
Yes.
We bumped into some new people. Good to see put some faces to names.
Loads of people off the Slack I never met before.
Yes, the Slack. The reception of Slack was pretty good, wasn't it? I think
really good
all round.
It's a good sort of touch point over the weekend. That was a great idea, setting up the channel. So
some hilarious photographs, isn't there?
Yeah. There are stories about our Saturday night, but you'll just have to
keep that pub a secret. We'll be going back.
We'll be going back. Yeah. The official ACP Thought Bubble Party 2022.
We do need was it Grease Megamix? Anywhere we go now.
Yeah. Or
can't talk about it. It was so scandalous.
So scandalous. Sarah Harris, you know what we're talking about. Now we made a rough list, and when I say rough, we got silver pen all over it at some point. Of who we'd like to thank. John, who's a new listener.
We
didn't get his second name.
No, we had a talk about John had picked up the podcast through the lockdown, and he was doing stuff, walking stuff, and
is John the bloke who used to live near my house?
That's the one.
Oh yeah, he's a nice dude.
He's a nice chap. Yeah. So thanks, John.
Someone who definitely wanted to explore other sides of comics beyond 2000 AD, and that Thought Bubble's perfect for that.
Good place to start.
Yeah. We've already thanked Tom, so we don't need to thank him again. He's here.
Become insufferable.
Yeah.
Keep me in place.
Yeah. Know your place. Eamon, of course.
Oh yeah, it's good to see Eamon. He didn't do the Sunday. I didn't realise he only messaged me today. So
There was a lot of people I thought I'd see on the Sunday that I didn't. I saw on the Saturday.
Where was John Otway? I thought he was coming up.
I thought he was going. Yeah. Perhaps they finally caught him.
Yeah.
Eamon obviously dropped by. He bought us all a tea.
Yes, absolute legend.
He tried to purchase some books with some Parma violets. Why anyone would try and accept those old people sweets? I'm saying it. I don't like them. Give me refreshers.
Old ladies' perfume.
Yeah,
Parma violets are disgusting.
Yeah,
I've seen them.
Very kind of you.
Where did he get them from?
Yeah.
But we still will take the piss.
Rory Donald, as always.
Good lad, Rory.
He came out with us for a bit on the.
Rory is like it's like going to Jerusalem, isn't it, for him?
Yeah, he's like 5 buses.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
We said his lovely wife was picking them up near where they live and driving a large
Exeter, I think it's
So that's good.
That was always good. Pete Jean Paul.
Yeah.
Comic House.
He joined us for a drink on the Fridays, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Comic House started a wobble over the weekend, but it righted itself in time for his talk.
Yeah.
So.
Because he had
really interesting talk, actually. Really interesting.
Oh
talk
yeah.
Comics.
Yeah.
Because Tom, you went to a couple of talks, and
I did go to a couple of
some
talks.
of them were a bit.
Some of them were not so good as others.
Yeah.
Chef's kiss, great. Highlights of the whole weekend.
Hey man, Wait. Dave Kennedy.
Did we see Dave?
What can you say about Dave Kennedy? It's probably best we don't say anything about Dave Kennedy.
Hilarious, although he never made it to that special place, did he?
No.
Neither did the next guest.
Nick Brokenshire.
Yeah,
that was always good.
Nick was good company.
Yeah. Luke Condor.
He popped by for a comic he put together with an artist that he's dropped off to us. Obviously, he's one of the writers behind El Marvo. That was great. Always great to see Luke and Ben.
Yeah. Caught up with them a couple of times.
Yeah.
And Andy, those guys. Because obviously it's the other stories, isn't it? That's
the other stories. I think they were doing really well.
Yeah, you should definitely check that out because they've printed some of their pro stuff. Obviously, Sarah Harris.
Yeah. Almost sold out. I think we might have one issue of DUI.
Which was great.
We got chocolates from Sarah. We got stickers from Sarah.
Yeah. If you get in touch with us about the last 1 or 2 issues of DUI, because all of the proceeds go into.
Yeah, it's all now because we paid for the print. So now everything that gets sold, some people bought bulk, and then are reselling the bulk.
Okay.
Just so we get double profit from issues.
Yeah.
Superb.
That's really good.
Yeah. Lucy Sullivan.
Yeah. Thanks. Listen to the last episode. Thanks. Lucy.
Yes. It was nice to hear that. Like when we were talking about the I hate the term survival guide. But you know what I mean, that sort of like get your COVID passes and all that. It was nice to know that like it wasn't just hot air.
A little bit of information.
Yeah, it was actually informational. Yeah. Lizzie Kay from Cast Iron Books, who gave us all some oranges to keep our energy
well
up.
received.
I peeled one in a special way.
Look like an elephant.
Yeah. He didn't do it in an untoward way.
No, obviously. What do you mean?
You always peel your oranges the same way.
Like an elephant.
No, you don't peel them like an elephant. You peel
that. It look like an elephant.
No, it looks like an elephant.
Shout out to Xavier, who popped by a couple of times. He's
he's a dude, mate. Yeah, what a nice dude.
He's opening up a small press and comic book shop in Lille in the next couple of weeks, which is a chance in his arm, and I wish him all the very best for. Yeah. And you'll kind of hopefully meet.
I'm going to meet up with him in Angoulême. Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah,
amazing.
And Martin Simmons is going to be in Angoulême as well.
Ah, fantastic.
It was good catching up with him.
I'll tell you what, he's almost of everyone we've ever met on this so far. I'm so chuffed.
Yeah.
I mean, he's gone from being just a small press guy, hanging out at small press stuff.
Well deserved.
Now he's like fucking. You see some of the prices of his art.
Great.
Rightly so, but I'm
so
so pleased. What a dude.
Yeah, and he's always got time for you.
He really has. Yeah. And to take the piss out of me, which is good.
Oh yeah, take the piss. Yeah.
Chad came around and dropped off a bunch of comics for us, but we're going to kind of work our way through.
We got a lot of comics and stuff.
So if you have dropped comics off, we're going to get round to them, reading, reviewing them, etc. So bear with us there.
Jonathan, who's posted on the Facebook. Whenever anyone comes up and says, "Oh, I'm listening to the show," I apologise immediately.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Sorry about that. But thank you for popping by and saying hello. I think did Jonathan pick up a DUI? I think they picked up a DUI.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. Who else we got? I'm trying to. At the bottom of the list, it gets really murky.
That's my handwriting.
And also, I was testing out my silver pen.
Yeah. Well, we've got Luke Aldridge. He was a listener. Currently working on some writing stuff of his own.
Oh yeah, he's a good geezer.
Yeah.
Kay Medaglia was the one above that, who we've reviewed lots of Kay's work before for Liminal. Has been doing those tarot cards. They've been doing those tarot cards recently.
That's a real. They're really popular.
They're really
tarot
popular.
Cards, yeah.
He was saying there's been like 18. So there's been more checks on TikTok for the word tarot than there has been, twice as many checks on TikTok for tarot than there are people in the world.
That's
crazy.
That's quite a big number.
So it's like super popular.
That's crazy.
But Kay's back into making some comics, which I'm over the moon because I'm a big fan of their work.
Yeah. Margot Salter, who was opposite us, French artist, picked up one of my prints and very, very kindly gifted me a print at the end of the day. Just a super nice person. Did some work in Star Wars comics, based in France.
Okay.
But just a genuinely nice and lovely person. And we met lots of nice and lovely people.
Al Henderson.
Always a ledge. Yeah.
Need to mention Al. Ben Clark, who you probably just heard from. And that's lovely because Ben and I used to table next to each other in 2001. And he went off, had some kids, left the scene for a bit because he was looking at, but continued to make comics.
Yeah.
And he's back now, and it was absolutely lovely to see him. Almost emotional to see him. Do you know what I mean?
I can
really nice.
imagine.
Yeah, I'm so pleased. Yeah.
There's loads of people really
they drop out, man. Yeah. It's almost something it's worth looking at to see what the drop off is, especially in the 6.5 years. Almost.
We've seen it like people come along and they've kind of blazed onto the scene, and then remember so and so, and where have they gone?
Sure. Yeah.
I got a comic off Camilla Kroll, Rusalka. That's fucking lovely.
That's lovely.
Yeah, that's absolutely lovely. But yeah.
Also Gustavo.
Yeah.
Yes. We had a couple of chats with him. I looked at his 08. It's proper underpriced.
He was absolutely smashing it.
Yeah.
There was a couple of creators who were doing like commission work and they were non-stop. Charles Raymond was doing that. He was non-stop.
Charles Raymond. Another or excuse me.
Nintendo.
Russell Olsen, Kempai. Yeah. Mr.
Falpy.
Yeah. Top company last night, my friend.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Looks after me.
Yeah. Two prettiest boys in indie comics.
The Burbs.
The Burbs.
Yeah.
It's good to see the Burbs.
While we were in the Chinese restaurant, I got the nickname Knuckles. He's the accountant. What was he called?
Honey Trap.
Honey Trap. That's what he's called. Honey Trap.
I feel like Burbs said, "I'm never going up that lot again." After that,
is that what he said?
I can imagine him saying, "I'd be saying that as his position. I'm never going up with those."
Went for Chinese, then we went to the worst pub we've ever been in.
Yeah,
but it was the best night.
But turned out to be brilliant.
A slap in the face from the pizza restaurant.
Oh yeah. What? They're not really listening. What fucking pizza restaurant runs out of dough?
Like the Pizza Palace place in Harrogate, and it's a shithole.
No, it's called Pizza Social.
It's Pizza Social.
I'll fucking call them out.
Yeah. I would have said the name, but I couldn't remember. That's that little they mean to me.
Basically, our feelings were hurt. That's basically.
Justin Jordan. Is it Justin Jordan? No, Jordan.
Thomas.
Jordan Thomas.
Jordan Thomas. Yeah.
Jordan's another person. Yeah, Jordan Thomas. We hung out with him last night.
Yeah. Steve Tanner.
Oh, Steve Tanner. Steve Tanner. He's a chameleon. Because we went in a pub and everyone was like dancing and singing along. I didn't notice him. You know why? Because he didn't have one of those jackets.
He had a dark T-shirt on.
Yeah.
And when I was outside the pub and said, "I think that's Steve Tanner in there," and I just saw this person give me a real nasty stare, and everyone said, "I don't think it is," and I honestly thought someone was going to beat me up.
I went in and it was him.
It was him.
Yeah.
But you walked in, and then like all anyone could see was like this guy who was Steve Tanner just shaking their head and just like,
"Are you Steve Tanner?"
No.
Steve Tanner.
No. Always nice to see you, Steve. Especially now that we know that you give Tony a bit of a brief.
He does do me sometimes. He catches me right out. Obviously, Ricky and Dave from Avery Hill. Katrina Chapman as well.
Lyndon White.
Nikki Love. Lyndon White.
Sarah Gordon.
Sarah Gordon.
Sarah Millman.
Sarah Millman. Sean Jefferson.
Yeah. I didn't see Sean. She was there.
Yeah. There was so many people that we didn't get like interviews with. Do you know what I mean? Me and Dan were as we were walking to the hotel now, like we were sort of saying, we had so many chats, and then thought afterwards, why wasn't I recording this?
Yeah.
But at the same time, we're there to also like.
We've also got to have fun.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we hope you enjoyed all the audio that we got.
As we left today, because we walked out with Nintendo, didn't we?
Yeah.
And he goes, I said thanks for the chuckles, Nintendo, and he went, "That's a night I'll never forget."
Yeah. No, I think obviously we are. I mean, as we speak now, Thought Bubble finished about an hour and a half ago. And like we're packed up and we're all sorted, and we're
fucked.
We're decompressing / the batteries are running down. So we're recording something before we go out to have the sort of celebratory finale supper.
Yeah.
What do we call that?
Going to the Nest of Vipers.
The Nest of Vipers. Oh yeah. Well, we're going to Viper. That's a hell of a club. It's open till 4.
We are not going.
Although
do not fucking look at me when I'm dancing.
Closes at 4, but she dances till 5.
So I always dance till 5. I make them stay for an hour. I bet they fucking love that.
I love any 60-year-old lady who is really drunk and then spends 20 minutes trying to light a cigarette.
Look, we've got to say, what was her name? Was it Chrissy?
Chrissy.
Let's give a
Chrissy
big
with a
shout
Y.
out to someone that will never ever hear this.
Was it with an I or a Y? And basically, he said
That's with a Y. Never say I. Never say that.
Never say with a
You'd get
Y.
fucking glassed.
She basically comes outside the pub and goes, "Who are you lot?"
Yeah.
And somebody said, "Oh, we make comics."
We make comics.
Tell us a joke then.
Yeah.
No, not that kind of comics.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's more like Chubby Brown.
Yeah. But it was brilliant. I just think I'm having flashbacks.
You just had that look on your face, like, "What the fuck?"
What there? And then the karaoke started. A successful weekend. I think we did all right as well, don't we? We were pleased with how we did. Shifted some books. Vanguard, you did well.
The case is a lot lighter, which is good.
You were running out of ones as well, weren't you?
I've run out of ones.
What does that feel like in terms of, like, obviously you take a lot of stock, and you want to sell out of things as much as you can.
It's a gamble trying to.
But then when you run out of ones and you've got a few more 2, 3, 4s.
Yeah, I've had it before because lots of people just want the ones, don't they?
Yeah. I've restocked one about three or four times, so I've got more at home, but I'm gonna have to think about another restock again. But I don't want to get caught short, like at the end of the day, and then you go, "Oh fuck me, I've got loads of these fucking trades."
Yeah.
To be fair, we gave away a lot of comics as well. Like a lot of the anthology packs. I gave away a few George Mayhems to people I just thought might like them.
I was giving away some Vipers.
Yeah. So we did well. We got some nice audio, some new voices and stuff.
Yeah.
And we picked up some comics. We got gifted comics and stuff during the weekend.
Yeah, we did loads.
Tony's got a bunch of his sat in front of him now.
We'll do it another time, man. I don't want to bore one.
We can do the Three Amigos, the proper. Let's sit down and go through our comic haul. Because we love a comic haul, and certainly all you people who went to Thought Bubble, we'd love to see your pictures of what you bought, because sometimes when I look at like the photos of like all the books laid out, I always go, "Fuck, I forgot to get that." Yeah.
Time and time you walk around that convention hall.
Yeah.
And you see some fuckers posting, and you're like, "Oh, I didn't see that at all."
Or you go to a table and you think, "I want to get that." Oh, they're busy right now. I'll come back, and you never get a chance to come back again.
I've been doing that all weekend. Seeing people post in the morning, I look at my phone because we're not looking at our phones much because we're just talking.
Or using it for the PayPal machine.
Yeah, and looking at this and thinking, I need to see his table there. I didn't even know he was there.
Yeah.
And you go through these people and think, how did I walk through the convention like 3 or 4 times? Missed these people.
Yeah. So a successful convention was had. Really. This has been a bit of a different sort of episode, properly live from beginning to end. Obviously, with us tabling, we had a certain experience, and we'll calm down and break it down probably a bit later. Yeah. I mean, one thing, having card machines has never been more important.
Yeah,
never been more important. Yeah. Everyone.
We've got Jason Garrett.
Awesome.
So Jason messaged us beforehand saying, "Is most people got cards, so I can't bother to go to the cash point."
Yeah, But Tom, you were there for both days as an exhibitor. Obviously, you're pounding the streets.
Sure.
But is this your first Thought Bubble you've been to?
It is.
Yeah.
All right, I didn't realise that.
Yeah. So what was it like for you?
That was fun. It's a beautiful big con.
Yeah.
There's lots of talks. They're not all to everyone's cup of tea.
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful big con. Loads of rooms, loads of spaces. And obviously I didn't go to the one in Leeds where it took over the whole town.
Yeah.
But it felt like a big old con, and there's loads of options there.
Yeah.
I would say definitely going, putting the time into research who's there, what you want. Have a red list of I really want to pick up A, B, C.
Yeah.
And then
what was that chap you kind of contacted for the show and said,
Z Broming.
Yeah.
And he was bringing 4 he said he was bringing 8. He brought 4 copies of Andromeda, and I managed to get the last one. And you think
and we've talked about that book several times before.
I can see that book, and it's that's the reason, isn't it, for him?
Yeah. Got audio with him there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, got Matt.
Yeah. Just in case you heard that, Matt, we love you.
So I think having go do some research, getting what you want, looking at what you want beforehand, and then going from there.
Yeah.
Good shout. Yeah. Yeah, because there is you're spoilt for choice because it's great it all being under one roof, isn't it? You know, and time just sort of it's like a blur. It's just it's like being on a massive spaceship and you just sort of like where the fuck am I? Where yeah, I'm so tired. I'm so yeah. And
it's just through therapy again. Right, imagine you back on the ship.
It's just you and me, Tony. We've got to repopulate the Earth.
Oh no! I've woken you from cryostasis.
Yeah. Why did you wake me?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I needed to slap my cock on something.
Of all the people in the colony ship, they can't put me back to sleep. Why have you done this?
Can you go and get Marina Sirtis? I'll turn the machine off.
Like accidentally getting the numbers wrong. I'm just going to have to make do.
On the vending machine, instead of the crisps come out, like, start throwing bits. Oh, fuck. Didn't want that one.
Do you remember, talking of Chris, remember we were talking about that pub last night and old Nintendo wanted lime in his drink? Do you remember? Yeah. And the bloke's like, fucking he had these hands like big slabs of meat and he's trying to cut this like lime and he's looking over at me like this. Well, do you want anything in it? And I didn't even ask him, can I have lime in that? And he's like, oh, fuck me. So he goes, and then I said to you, I didn't have lime, so he just put a crisp in it.
One of those Walker's aromatic jobs.
Oh yeah, the real classic.
Paprika.
Yeah. So so we'll be back to sort of normal plan as we obviously post Thought Bubble. We'll be running down towards Christmas.
Nice one next week. Got a big one.
Yeah.
Successful.
Oh yes, we've got an interesting one.
POV.
Yeah. Yeah. Watch yourself.
I can't even remember what that is.
No, you do know what POV is. I've seen it on your phone. You've been watching it later.
Might get slapped on the wrist from the hotel Wi-Fi.
Yeah. And if you are a new listener, welcome to the show. We really appreciate you joining us, and we look forward to all the future episodes leading up to Christmas. Obviously, we've got some interesting topics to talk about, but then we've got some fun and games leading up to Christmas, haven't we? And sort of our picks of the year, which is going to be a difficult one.
It's hard one. Always hard.
Oh, always can't remember. But who knows? We might have picked up something today.
That's going to take the title.
We won't pass it on to anyone else.
Talking the titles as well. We're defending our title.
Yeah, we are.
Fourth year.
It's going to be a tough one this year.
Yeah. I know I made a title belt out of cardboard, but I've lost it.
Yeah, I said that to you, didn't I? Why did you do that? I was bored.
I've got the mega powers once again.
Yeah. I'd rather be Macho Man Randy Savage. We hope you enjoyed this. Of course, if there's anything you want us to mention on a future episode, you can email us awesomecomicspod@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter @TheAwesomePod, where we'll no doubt over the next couple of days. I mean, just before we start recording, there was the most elaborate and well thought out tweet that the Awesome Pod.
That was a joint effort. Yeah.
No, it wasn't.
What was it?
Wow.
It was tried to put the most generic post-con tweet.
Yeah, it was a generic post.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
The feeling was there.
Yeah,
what a blast we had.
Yeah. Amazing.
We're so tired now, though.
Yeah. Lol. But stay tuned because we'll be announcing all the fun stuff we've got coming up, and also get in touch with us if you want to pick up any of the books. We've still got sort of stock left over as well.
Yeah, we have.
Perfect Christmas.
Where can they go to get those books?
Wow, it's natural.
Yeah, natural.
Smooth as silk.
Topped it up.
Well, you can find me on social media @JesterDiablo. I launched my book Black, and I've still got some copies. I know some people have already been in touch to get it, but
can I just tickle your rules there? Black's brilliant.
Yeah, it is good, man. I like that. Yeah. And the biggest seller at the weekend. I'm not one of those blokes.
No.
But that's the top of the chart, man, isn't it?
Absolutely brilliant.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
If you have a copy of Black, pick it up.
Yeah. Do yourself a favour.
Who is this person?
Yeah.
I
don't know him like this. I don't reckon.
No. Put us all to shame.
Christmas
Second prettiest boy in the comics.
What better gift than Black?
Yeah.
Oh, that voice is silky smooth.
Look, all right, where can they find your stuff then? I'm feeling very uncomfortable about this.
Patreon.com/Tribute Press.
There you go.
You can find me on Twitter @Vanguard Comic, and you read Vanguard at vanguardcomic.com. And we've got the Patreon going for Viper and Viper 2 and Vanguard, and that's all going on right now.
Yes, and Tom, of course.
I'm @ThisChuckleS. but I'm spiritually at Vipers all the time.
Not dance comic, but the club.
Fucking look at me when I'm dancing.
Yeah. But there could be some drinking draws in the future.
There will be some drinking draws.
We'll talk about that, won't we?
There will be some drinking draws in the future.
Brilliant. There you go. You heard it here first.
It's just been bad timing. We'll get down to it.
Well, you know, life is life, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah.
It'll happen.
But I know there was a lot of people at Thought Bubble who have been at the Gabby Scanlon.
Gabby Scanlon.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
we'll keep remembering these as we go on.
We'll keep going.
Norm, can you?
Yeah.
Oh
God. This is it's just gonna keep happening. So yes, so find us all on social media, but follow Tom so you can find out details of the drink and draw.
Or you could also go to the Facebook group.
The Facebook group, Awesome Comics Talk. There's a Slack channel.
Get on the Slack, baby. The Slack this weekend was particularly fun.
Yeah. And facebook.com/Awesome Comics Podcast. And just follow us and just see what the next couple of months brings.
And what should we do?
I don't know. I mean, I'm tired. I'm too tired to do anything right now. But I think we should do something. So, what do you think we should do, guys?
Anal.
I was going to say stay awesome.
Well, he beat you to it. So, ready? Dealer's choice.
Let's get naked.
Anal is pretty awesome. So
Let's do it. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Stay awesome.
Yeah, that's all right. Right, get your trousers off.
Right, pub.
Check that we're going, Mr. Producer.
Yeah. Hello.
Yep.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Why did Dan go hello?
We just
I was warming up for my legendary hello.